plan is simple. I love Orcane, and I need everyone to know it. And there's only one real way to prove it, by becoming the best Orcane player in Rivals 2. Okay, I promise I'm not delusional. I know I'm not going to be the best Orcane. But dang, I really want to be able to hang with all of the best players out there. There's a tournament coming up, Heatwave 7, and I'm entering. It's going to be the first major tournament since Rivals 2 was released. I don't just want to show up and get destroyed though. I want to give them a run for their money and really enjoy the experience. That's why I'm starting a challenge. Over the next 3 weeks, I want to see how good I can get at Rivals of Aether 2 before the tournament begins. I present to you my experience at Heatwave 7. Here's what I've done to prepare. I've played enough Rivals of Aether 1 to get Orcane into gold rank, doubling the number of hours I'd previously logged in the game. I've practiced P+ at least weekly in an attempt to stay fresh with the shield and grabbing systems. And I've stayed fresh on my box controller. Also, just to be clear, everything that I can do on my box, I can also do on a controller. Well, at least for like one stock before my hands start exploding. For additional context, I've actively competed in Smash Ultimate, Melee, and P+ throughout college, and I did fairly well, seeing improvement along the way, but I haven't been on the grind in a long time. I'm gonna need to dig deep and bring out the competitive spirit that drove my progress in the past. First step, Beta Week placement matches. I'm not sure if I got lucky or just played really well, but I was able to win all 4 of my ranked placement matches, which landed me in Platinum. Granted, one of my wins came from a rage quit, but this was the first step, and I was happy to have been able to clutch up when it mattered. I put my controller down and decided to take a quick break before attempting to rise up the ranks to the elusive Master rank that I knew was just waiting for me. It did not go that way. My first match was an immediate loss. It did feel kind of winnable, and that was rough, so I queued up again and hoped for better luck. Unfortunately, my rank just kept dropping, and I was getting destroyed. Like everyone does, I decided to swap characters out of desperation. But for me, it's different. I know that my Zetterburn is better than my Orcane. I just don't want him to be. Like dang, he's stupid fun to play. I just don't like him. It's the loincloth, honestly. I had to make the decision. Should I abandon my morals and sell out my soul to Zetterburn, or could I stick it out with Orcane? 2 days later, on October 23rd, the game officially released. Unfortunately, this meant that everyone's ranks had reset. Hopefully this time I'll be able to get past Platinum rank. Placement matches went well enough. I won 3 of the 4 and was placed in gold, which was fine by me. I was ready to begin the grind. I was a good player, and I was going to learn from my opponents, getting exposure to different playstyles, ultimately refining my own flowcharts to create my own place in this meta. Well, that would have been the case if I could just get a singular win. I was losing steam and it hadn't even been a day. I had, however, decided to play Orcane as my main in the long term, which was definitely supported by the fact that I'd bought the beloved Axolotl skin. But a lot of times, it felt like I was running into a wall. I would lose to players that felt really beatable just because I couldn't close out stocks, and I was getting way too nervous. That's when I called in Trey to watch some of my ranked matches to give me some encouragement on getting back into Platinum rank. It was fun, but I knew that something was missing. The sense of community wasn't really there. I was just playing against people I didn't even know. Even with one of my homies there cheering me on, I could definitely feel something weighing down on me. Something had to change. I had to play against people in person. So I finally did it. I've signed up for Heatwave 7. My fate is officially sealed. Matches went well, but they did feel sort of forced. I was getting more wins than losses, and I felt some progression, maybe? Regardless, good enough day. Oh, also Maple. I like Maple now. Monday. Matches happened, and it was another day of positive win rates. Tuesday. I also played for a bit, and I felt like I was analyzing my opponents better. Wednesday. Was incredible. I was really learning with Orcane. The wall that was there before had melted away. Genuinely, this was a pivotal day. Things were clicking more, the game was simplifying. I got to see things I was doing consistently, and guess what? Thursday. I did it. I finally did it. I looked at the frame data. As a kid, I obsessed over memorizing the numbers, and that is helpful, but more importantly, I wanted to see some hitboxes. Here's some interesting takeaways for Orcane. Down air is active only on frames where both fins are clearly visible. Don't look at the splashes on smash attacks for reference on the hitboxes. It's much smaller. Up tilt doesn't scoop a ton, but it's not worthless. Forward tilt doesn't have a scoop. It only hits once Orcane's mouth closes. Down smash is short, like no height. Also, look at this rank chart. I'm in the top 25%, but that's not good enough for me. I want to be here. I can be here. I'm easing into it. I'm learning. I can't force it. I just gotta let it happen. Be genuinely excited and curious. Down air links into down smash and other smashes, and nair is still crazy. At my first Smash tournament, way back in high school, I got 2 wins before being knocked out. And now, almost a decade later, I still want to hold myself to maintain at least that standard. I knew the only people coming to this tournament would be top tier players, but I wanted so badly to have a breakout performance. First off, I cannot recommend in-person tournaments enough. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, just walking up to the venue was amazing. A Mogul Moves air freshener? A whole Wario car? These were my people. After wandering around the venue for a few minutes, I finally found it. A dark, empty hallway that led to the event. Heatwave 7. I played some friendlies and chatted with people for a bit, and a couple hours later, my first match was getting called. I was one of the only people that had a round 1 opponent. No, not because they thought I was awesome and deserved to play more matches than everyone else, but rather because I was projected to lose every single match. So I guess I've got nothing to lose, right? After sitting down and picking our characters, my opponent leaned over to me and asked, "So what are the rules?" In that moment, I feared that I would be losing to someone who had never gone to a tournament before. I won the first game and clutched out the second, but he was schmoving. I knew if I played any less on point than I was, I would have been blown up. Luckily, I was on to round 2. This is the match that I was nervous about. I'd done my research on the projected tournament path, and I thought that this had happened. Plastic Dinos is a pillar of the Arizona Rivals community, and I knew the odds were not in my favor. But this was my chance to show that I could swing with the best of them. This was my real test to see if my month of practice had paid off. The first match felt good enough, but it was glaringly obvious that I'd be losing. Regardless, I didn't feel completely out of my element. I was still swinging, and I felt confident that if I caught on to habits and kept my movement clean, I could keep from getting too stocked. Then game 2 happened. This was, with no exaggeration, the best match of Rivals I had ever played. I was so locked in, and everything that I tried just worked. This back air is probably the best thing I've ever done in this game, and I'm so glad that I got it on tape. Even while playing out of my mind, I barely won game 2. Game 3. If I win this, I'm inheriting a top player's spot in the bracket. Other players had started to walk over to watch this final match of the set. Am I seriously about to beat a top player? The match really felt doable, but I unfortunately wasn't able to close it out. Getting my win here was a bit of a pipe dream. But regardless, this was easily the most fun that I'd had playing Rivals. Dinos was a homie, and he really made me feel appreciated, and it reminded me of why I love attending tournaments in person. This was the experience. We get to meet people, we get to learn and grow. We talk about the game, we bond, and oh shoot, my next match is happening? Like, right now? I failed to mention that unlike many other events I've attended in the past, this tournament was moving. The TOs were on top of their stuff. As such, there was no time for breaks. I sat right back down in the same seat to play my first match in the loser's bracket. I knew that I'd pretty much met my goal, but after such a good match against Dinos, I was really hopeful that I could win the next few. Heck, I had almost beat a Rival's top player. Could this mean that I could keep the streak alive and make it to day 3 of the event? Could I be making top 8? My opponent sat down next to me and informed me that they would also be recording the match, just like I had been. And they let me know it was going to be for a YouTube video, just like mine. And my mind immediately started racing. If they lose here, their video is over. If I lose here, my video is over. And that thought wouldn't go away. They selected Orcane. I had to win this. The match started, and we both started swinging, except I wasn't prepared for it. Their game plan seemed to be the exact same as mine. Everything that I did, they would start doing better. I fell into all of their traps, and they weren't running into mine. I was in a constant state of playing catch-up. There it was again. If they lose here, their video's over. If I lose here, my video's over. But if they lose here, their video's over. But if I lose here, my video's over. If they lose here, their video's over. If I lose here, my video's over. I need to be honest. I was completely crushed. Like, not just sad or disappointed. I was depressed. My hands and arms were still shaking from the adrenaline rush, and all I could do was sink into the nearest chair, slump onto the sticky bar table in front of me, and watch my loss play back in my head over and over and over again. I'm lucky to have a supportive wife who came over to the tournament and coached me through the loss. We talked through what happened and really started to nail down how my mental game had completely fallen apart in the final set. I was still spiraling, but slower. It was crazy that I could have my best match in all of Rivals 2 history, and still the following loss made me regret even attending. This game, quite honestly, had started taking over my life. Had this whole sacrifice, this whole video been for nothing? What did I even do all of this for? It's ridiculous that I put so much stock into a video game, but I really had put a lot of time and effort into it. It meant a lot to me. After spending more time at the venue, it was time to get in my car and go home.
Let's take it from the top. I get to the event. It's awesome. It feels incredible. I'm sure that they've done this more times than I can imagine, and it looks amazing. I feel awesome. I'm with my people, and I'm ready to play some Rivals. Play some people from out of state, which was awesome. Then the tournament starts. I do remember getting some cheesy kills, but a lot of it was just good callouts. This back air in the cloud is probably my favorite thing I've ever done in this game, because I was like, I wonder if this works. It was so good. It was very good, and it made me very happy. But I lost to Orcane. That hurts, man. That hurts. I did so well against Plastic, and it got my hopes up, and my mindset was completely in a different place. I thought I could win. I felt like I was going to win. I want to enter the next weekly so bad. I don't even know if I'm going to beat them, but I want to go. I want to try and beat them. I want to go again. I want to play more Rivals. I want to see these people, and it's going to be a really, really good time. I'm very, very excited. This is... I want to play more Rivals too.